A partially valid, a half-truth, if you will, is
Yeah.
being pushed.
I can't wait to find out all sorts of new and exciting things I didn't know about myself.
So you just hate Jews, bro?
Yeah, you're
It's
just an anti-Semite. Congratulations.
You're
Go
not
join.
What would you say?
Exactly.
Well, that's different. It's not different. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's
That just we are the only society on earth who has the obligation to self-destruct, to blame ourselves for every problem that has ever existed, and we just think of ourselves as the worst human beings who are responsible for every bad.
How many Muslims are trying to stop Boko Haram? How many Muslims were confronting ISIS? How many Muslims, the extremists always win. So the peaceful majority, which I know many, they're irrelevant.
Good morning, Misfits. It is Woke Wednesday, and I just saw in the chat, which we will bring up here. Where was it? Where were you? Morning, dude. Did you fix your chair? Well, you be the judge. Can you hear? You can hear it a little. I did grease my chair. I used CLP, which is usually for guns, but works on chairs. Anyway, good morning, guys. Okay, let's do some shout outs. Let's bring that up so we can get back to the bottom here. All right. We got Great Guy Gary, Miss Mocha Powered, Bad Moon. We got Kittenhead Bumba, P Year Out, T Mitchell, Winky Winky Nod Nod, Great Guy Gary, and other people. Anyway. Good morning, Misfits. Oh, wait, hold on. You know, we got that will not do. Hold on. There we go. OCD. I had this thing set up so perfectly where there we go. You got the American flag. You got guns. America, guns, America. I got some new lights coming today. They're like red. They're the red and blue, and I think they're gonna light up the background better. And then we're gonna change some lighting in here. We did a big makeover on the show, hence the chat screen, right? See, we got the American flag now in the background instead of that black and white. We got a guest coming up, but today is Woke Wednesday. If you've never seen the Daily Breakdown before, usually what we do is we have a theme of the day and the Daily Breakdown. Today we have a theme of the day, and we have a guest. The Woke Reich. The Woke Reich is what we're going to be talking about here. I wanted one of these to be a groiper and one of them to, you get the point, right? The extremists on the woke that we talk about every week. I do a reminder every week about what woke means, and woke means a victim mentality. Hold on, by the way. Sound low? Is the sound low? I forgot that. Here we go. Oh, I think that's better. Is that better? I think that's better. I forgot when I have a guest, sometimes my sound is low, but the new board that I got seems to be doing just fine. Okay, we have my producers. Is the sound better now? I just cranked it all the way up on the board, which means I don't think I need to keep messing with the internals now. Yes, CQ. Confirmation. All right, new board. New board's great. All right. But like I said, what I do is every week we talk about woke because I think that woke is the biggest problem that we're having culturally in America, probably a little bit around the world too. But we're having a huge problem with woke. But I don't think a lot of people understand what woke means. Okay. If you've already been here, if you're not new to this class, you probably have heard this already. But if you haven't, woke is not a leftist ideology. Woke is an identitarian movement where there is a victim group and there is an oppressor and everything is somebody else's fault because of the fact that they are, a different race, religion, color, creed. For instance, we all know how the woke left works, okay? The woke left is white man bad, capitalism bad. All of my problems are because of, rich people and white people and these people and that people and mega Republicans. And that movement has gone through, I would say, a decade of Well Enough Alone, where they are now the woke left, they're at their point of we're going to do something about it. Okay? they killed Charlie Kirk. They've tried to kill Donald Trump 3 times, more maybe. They just tried to attack the UFC White House event, but maybe not just the woke left. Maybe they had some woke right help. There's just, when you ignore this problem, right, it becomes a bigger problem. It's a cancer. You can't just say, I'll get to it later. You need to treat it early, or it will metastasize, and it will kill the host, right? The Democrat Party's the host. The left is done. They cannot come back from this. But we are seeing it on our side. There is a woke right, or woke rake, and if we do the exact same thing the left did, which is, hey, well, they're pretty popular. Well, let's use them for votes. Let's use them for popularity. That Nick Fuentes gets a lot of views. Same thing will happen, right? In 10 years, we'll have our own extremist group, right? There already is a small faction of right-wing extremists, right? It's not a conspiracy theory, and it's not something that you just say, oh, well, we don't want to address it because we don't want the whole party to look bad. No, you address it so that your side looks good. So people see you fighting that side. That's how you fix it. People have this counterintuitive, like, let's just unite. No. Absolutely not. Here's why. Okay. And we're going to get to something else, by the way, and you're not going to like it. It's going to be tough love. Maybe my guest won't even like it. I don't know, and I don't care. But this attack on the UFC event that was thwarted, right? This could have been very bad, guys. They were mobilizing. They were going to do this. This was not some kids that were posturing. They were going to do this. Okay, the FBI has unsealed charges against the 19-year-old accused of helping plan the attack on the UFC Freedom 250 event. He selected his targets based on who took pro-Israel money, naming Marsha Blackburn and sharing of 4 members of the West Virginia delegation sourced from Track APAC. Which means this was a leftist who hated Jews, and he wanted to track any Republican GOP MAGA person, right? That one was. What about the other ones? Okay? Because we understand that the motivation behind this attack was elites, capitalist elites, and anyone that took money from AIPAC, right? They wanted to murder a bunch of innocent people because some Congress people took money from AIPAC. That's their motivation, right? So if you align with the Jews and you're a capitalist or a billionaire or whatever, we're going to murder a bunch of innocent people. That's their motivation. Is it? Because that's one of them. What about this one? What about Thomas Milton, I think it was? Thomas said the aim of this and subsequent attacks was to create enough chaos about to bring the overthrow of the U.S. government. All right. Thomas indicated that he believes the government is run by an elite group of individuals who sacrifice and consume infants who were also deeply involved with Jeffrey Epstein and now protected by President Trump. Thomas places the responsibility of this corruption with the Jewish people and blames them and Israel for the current war. That sounds more like a woke righty. Horseshoe theory has now become an alliance for terrorists. So you have the woke left and the woke right coming together to try and murder a bunch of innocent people because too many of us in here love the Jews. That's what it is. Don't give me your bullshit. about how it's about the Israeli government. Fuck you. I'm sick and tired of this talking point. It's about the Israeli government. Fuck you. No, it isn't. The government is 120 people. It's a country the size of New Jersey. You don't murder innocent people because you have a criticism of a government in the Middle East. You don't. How many people have said, I am sick and tired of America funding the Russia-Ukraine war, so I'm going to murder a bunch of innocent people. 7,000 people a week die in that war. Children, innocent children. Zelensky sent ATACMS to a beach targeting children. Putin sent drones into a city targeting children. Nobody has ever gone, those stupid Russians or those stupid Ukrainians. It's always the Jews, when the Jews are attached to it. I mean, look, guys, we got this this updated report, right? And it's pretty bad. I mean, look, we got, according to the complaint, they spent their graduation money. These were young kids. These are impressionable kids. When you have Hassan Piker saying, kill those capitalist pigs and let the streets run red with their blood, and you have Candace Owens saying, like, the Jewish pedophiles and elites, et cetera, you're Nick Fuentes, right? Nick Fuentes being like, if we ever get into power, we need to execute these people. Like, it doesn't, we don't need to be on a political side for this. We need to be on one side, the right side, good side, versus the evil side. And for some reason, there really is almost always what motivates these people? There's always an Israel aspect. Look, we're gonna talk about Israel, right? Because for a very long time, and I don't think anybody's confused about this. I hope not, because I've been very vocal about it. I've been accused of being paid by Israel, being an Israeli shill, and I've come out and I've said, fuck AIPAC. I don't like PACs. I'm an American. I don't like influence in my government. But I also don't like the National Association of Realtors. I also don't like the like IPAC. I don't like AAPAC, which is the American Arab Political Action Committee. I don't like any PACs, right? So, fuck AIPAC. Cool, okay? Don't shoot me. However, right, and I don't care about the Israeli government either. I don't really care. I think that they're an ally. I think that they're fighting terrorists. I think that, we should have a strong relationship with them. But I am America first, right? I am America first, 100%. I'm the real kind of America first. I'm the real kind of MAGA. But there is a valid argument to some, and do not get upset about this. If the shoe fits, lace it up. If the shoe does not fit, don't. You can only be offended if you think I'm talking to you, and if you think I'm talking to you, maybe you should be offended, because this is going to be some tough love. I am very tired of seeing, over the past week, the amount of people that are turning on Trump, shitting on the thing because they think that they've seen a deal and they don't like the deal. You haven't read the deal, right? The amount of people freaking out over an MOU they have not read is astounding. Look, if it's a bad deal, I'll jump on board, but I haven't read it. Neither have you. Anybody who says they hasn't. You're falling for propaganda. You're losing your shit because you think that Trump has turned on Israel, all right, the country, all right, and the Jewish people, or you think he's turned on Iran, the people, right? Wait to read it. What the hell? How do you not see the similarities between what you're doing and what the America First people are doing? Donald Trump turned on us because he said something that he never said. Look, and this is like everyone has. I've had people that really I support. They're my friends, and they've come at me and they'll be like, "You're naive." I'm not naive. I'm not. I'm living in the world of the realm of, here are the facts I have. Am I saying it's a good deal? No. I'm saying you don't know it's a bad deal. But everyone has read it. Reuters released it. Reuters didn't release it! Nobody's released it because part of the deal was Qatar said, we want you to wait until Friday for some reason. This was confirmed by Trump. This was confirmed by J.D. Vance. This was confirmed by Marco Rubio. What you have read is a summary of what somebody else thinks that they read, and it's probably not really what it was. There is like carve-outs where there could potentially be the IRGC somehow reforming and coming into the world only if they jump through a bunch of hoops that they're not going to jump through. There's no $300 billion that they're just going to automatically get. There's a bunch of stuff in there that this is based on the reporting, right? I don't know. But there is a bunch of stuff that has been confirmed by J.D. Vance and by Marco Rubio and by Trump that says like, oh yeah, well, if this, and this happens, then maybe. But nobody has confirmed the thing that you're freaking out about. So I'm just saying, why are you acting like the same people who you fight on a daily basis, who turn on a dime and don't have any grace or you can't wait 4 days, guys. Well, I mean, even if this was 3 or 4 days, you can't wait a week and a half before you start going, I can't believe Trump. No. Just woosah and give it a freaking minute. And if that sounds like tough love and you're like, you're stupid, you're naive, then fine. Fuck you and get out of here too. I don't have the thing that you guys have where you guys go like, all right, I'm tribal to a point, right? I'm tribal to the truth. I'm loyal to the truth. If you guys start coming at me because I slightly disagree with you, I don't have time for it. I'm not going to turn on Israel, the Jewish people, or any of my beliefs, but I will tell you to screw. Tough love. Here, Trump. If I don't like it, we'll go back to shooting them and dropping bombs on their head. Does that sound like somebody who's turned on the Iranian people? Anyway. All right, we're going to be bringing on our guest. I went a little bit over time. I got a little bit crazy, but we'll talk with her about this. And we'll try to bring this show back to a decent, happy place. It really, guys, it really has been bothering me because I've been seeing it for almost a week. I've literally just been watching people who I like. And then I've had some people who are I'm like, oh, look, yeah, reasonable. Right? And I think that this is a reasonable person. So we are going to bring on our guest. Let's go back to Eric. You know what? Let's just top right corner here. Tanya, that's a hard name to say. Tanya and highly Jewish. She goes by highly Jewish, and I'm going to read her bio, and then we're going to pull her right on. Tanya, hold on, Sikanovsky. Maybe.
Wow, that's great.
Tanya Sikanovsky is a proud American, unapologetic Zionist, and Jewish advocate dedicating to combating anti-Semitism and defending Western values. She serves as senior advisor to the Combat Anti-Semitism Movement, head of development at Think Again, and is a candidate for West Hollywood City Council. Say hello to Tanya, a.k.a. Highly Jewish. How are you doing, Tanya? Thank you for coming on.
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. So I think I heard you hearing me say my whole spiel there. Before we jump into that, go ahead and, even though I gave you an intro, go ahead and give yourself an intro to the audience and tell everybody what you're getting into, what your whole goal is with your online or your advocatism. Who cares?
That's a great word. I think that should be advocatism. We can.
I think it was advocacy. I think I meant to say advocacy, but whatever. I need more coffee. I went with protein shake instead of coffee. That was a choice. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes. Hi everyone. I'm Tanya Sikanovsky. I was born and raised in Los Angeles. to immigrant parents from the USSR. They came here with the help of the Jewish Federation.
Hold on,
Thanks to
guest
them
is
and
guest is
America.
echoing. Hold on one sec, Tanya. Looks like we have a.
Ooh, sorry.
No, it's not your fault. It's my fault. We have a new soundboard, and we're going to try that now. Can I?
Hi, everyone. Is that better?
Maybe echoing.
Maybe.
Well, there's not much I can do about it. I think it's coming through my end, so I'm going to try to mute my mic while you're talking. Let's see if that helps. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Does that help? I hope. I'm Tanya. Great. So Tanya Tsikhanovsky. It's a Russian last name. I was born and raised here in America. I'm a proud American citizen. My parents came here legally with the help of the Jewish Federation in 1979. They immigrated here as refugees. Most of my family died in Babi Yar. So I am very well familiar with what it means to try to be murdered and killed for who you are. Which is what I think America is facing right now. I am in West Hollywood. I am running for West Hollywood City Council. A lot of this came from the fact that I have spent the majority of my life being on the blue side. I spent 20 years voting blue up and down the ticket and being what you would call woke. I even worked on Hillary's campaign against Trump in 2016 and wrote tweets such as, "I'm going to leave this country if Trump becomes president." Newsflash, I never left the country, stayed, married a woman, divorced a woman. That divorce was not any better, or worse, just because Trump was in office. And somehow everything is fine. So all of the craziness that I was, supporting and listening to, thankfully I had a reality check, but that reality check came at a cost. It came after October 7th. I wasn't an influencer or anybody back then. I was just someone that had an Instagram that was open to people. I think I had maybe 3,000 of my own family members and friends in it. And obviously we know what happened on October 7th. I was playing in a rec league in West Hollywood, a gay rec league. We're adults here, so I'm 37 at the time. The rec league was full of people that were like 25 and 26, but here we are reliving our glory days. And we're playing in this queer league. I don't really love that term. I'm an old school lesbian. All these extra letters are giving me anxiety. But it's a gay league, and a lot of these people were my friends, or so I thought. And after October 7th, their Instagrams were filled with kafias and anti-Western rhetoric. And I started noticing that these were the people on the same political side that I have been on my whole life. And I'm sitting here listening to people in Congress be against Israel. Now, I heard a lot about what you were saying, and I can't wait to dive into that because you and I agree and disagree on quite a lot, and I'm so excited to have this conversation. But
and I'm gonna be clicking in and out because of the echo issue. I'll fix it for the next show.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'll try not to interrupt, but we'll have a banter.
Sure, great. And so anyway, I quickly became ostracized for being a Zionist and being very pro-American. And quickly after seeing how the Biden administration was handling encampments on college campuses and how they were suggesting that Bibi would not go into Rafah when we had American hostages in Rafah. I mean, this is beyond Israel and beyond Jews. You had Americans that were held hostage, and your own administration is saying, don't go get them out. Like, that's pathetic. And so when I saw that, I was like, that's it. We're not doing this. And I flipped red and told everyone online to vote for Trump. And then the league tried to kick me out. They basically said I wasn't allowed at social events. Like, I could play in the games because I was a paying member. And if they literally tried to kick me out, I would have sued. But they did not want me at social events anymore because I guess I was some horrible person just because I wanted to elect Trump. And once that happened, and I talked about it to a reporter, Elon Musk retweeted it. And that's kind of how I ended up where you are, like meeting you. As you know, I started talking and I haven't shut up since, basically.
Yeah, what's funny is I had another guest on Yuval David last week, and he's talking a similar story, right? Where it's like, and look, we're on kind of like, we have a Christian audience, and there's a lot of, not a lot, I'm sorry, there's a few who are like, oh, the gay thing. And I'm like, listen, man, live your life, right? I'm a conservative traditionalist, so I will say I believe that man and woman is a biblical thing, but I also have gay friends. My friends are leftist. I have 2 lesbian friends who they go, I don't know why I like you, but I do, because you're nice to me and you're respectful. And it's like, and we can do that. But you know what I noticed is that there's a lot of people who are pushing away people like you because of their rigid belief structure. And I'm like, listen, man, you don't have to be gay. You don't have to, if you are nice and you have a friend or anything like that, just like if you have a friend who cheats on their spouse and you really don't like it, or just like if you yourself are not perfect, just like this, and it bothers me when I hear those people, because it really just sort of it does the opposite of what we're trying to do, which is build a coalition of people and spread the good word and what have you. But also it's like, hey, just from a political strategy, let's just go, hey, I don't agree with you on everything, but if you're voting red, I'm going to be nice to you. And I think that you have a double, you and Yuval, that you have sort of like a double red pill moment, right? Where you're like, not only is the gay community turning on me because there's this, tribalism in the LGBT alphabet people, right? But there's also the Jewish aspect, right? Where it's like, now there's also the left in general. I saw somebody posted something, I'm stealing it from them, but it says the difference between the two sides is the right has anti-Semites, but the left is anti-Semites, right? Where it's like
I wrote that.
Oh, you did? Oh, pfft. Well, there we go. We credit the author. And it's like, that's the thing. There's a problem that I was talking about where the woke right has sort of started to emerge, but the left, they were doing this for years and people just didn't know it. So I think that we have to address it early. Otherwise, we're going to have people like you in 5 years, 10 years, or even, even sooner than that. And they're going to go, I'm just politically homeless, right? We need to be accepting of people so that we can build, because I believe the MAGA movement, I believe the Conservative Party is the better party, not a perfect party, not the Dan Bongino says, the right isn't the answer to all your problems, but the left is the cause of all your problems. And I think that's a great statement. So, yeah. And guys, I'm sorry about the echo. If she's echoing, it's because I have my mic on. I'll fix it for next time, but I'm going to mute myself and give her time to reply. But go ahead and tell me what your thoughts are on that.
No, I mean, I fully agree with you. I also think, yes, there's a lot going on with me because I'm obviously Jewish and I'm a Zionist, but I am also, just like you, America first. And I think that we on the right side, the difference is exactly what I had said. The reason why the Republican Party has anti-Semites and the Democratic Party is anti-Semitic is because the ones that are screaming on the Republican side are not in Congress. They're on podcasts. They're affecting influence to social media, but they're not putting the laws in our country. They're not trying to block funding to Israel's army that actually protects us as well. Like, I'm trying to be logical here in just, as an American, I know that isolationism doesn't work. I know that we need friends, we need allies, and I'm sorry, but wouldn't I want to be aligned and supportive and proud of something of a country that actually has my Western values in mind and doesn't want to destroy me? I mean, Israel does not have terror organizations that exist to destroy America.
Well, you bring up a really good point, and this is something that I wanted to cover with you. I'm gonna pull up the this just dropped, I believe it was yesterday. The rape gang inquiry report. Rupert Lowe said that he was going to be dropping this, and people were sort of anticipating it, right? And the irony is when we talk about who our allies are, right? There was a common enemy aspect of it, which is exactly why America, last time we became isolationists, World War II was going on, and we had to be attacked at Pearl Harbor before we even got involved. And then we quickly realized we should not be isolationists because that's how you get attacked. But I see a similarity, the similar dichotomy between what's going on now, because when you have a common enemy, right, you can align with people and this is not a one-to-one comparison. This is not even a really great analogy. But for instance, Hitler was really bad, okay? And we aligned with Stalin to beat him, okay? This is not comparing Israel to Stalin, so calm down. However, right, when we have this threat of Islam, how can we not even consider aligning with Israel, even if you think they're Stalin, right? Because we are looking at this UK report. I'm not even going to read it, but it's on the screen. This is how bad it is. I'm only going to read a couple little things. I'm summarizing. This is just one of many, many pages in this report that is horrific, right? There was a young girl, 12 years old, who had a bottle broken off into her private area after being raped repeatedly. 12 years old, right? And these are the 250,000 reported sexual assaults of minors throughout the UK. This was a systemic problem. It's what Tommy Robinson has been talking about for years. That's why they threw him in jail. That's why they're still trying to go after him. And he was right, and everybody who didn't talk about it or covered it up is right, because they were afraid of being labeled Islamophobic. But for some reason, nobody's worried about being called anti-Semitic. Or sorry, everybody's like, nobody cares that they're criticizing Jews, but they care so much if they criticize Islam. So I say, look, let's just do this. If you think that we have a Hitler and Stalin, we don't, okay? But if you think that, right? Muslims are Hitler, dude, right? And like, let's just align with Israel to prevent this problem. And the amount of people that say that, oh, the Epstein files, the rape inquiry report is 1,000,000 times worse than the Epstein files. And we actually have them, right? Like, we have all of the evidence. Keir Starmer just didn't prosecute these people. The UK police didn't believe the young girls. It was all out of this warm embrace of collectivism and multiculturalism because they wanted to bring in as many immigrants as possible from the third world. But we have this really strange, like, yeah, but the Jews are colonizers. And it's like, what are you talking about? The Muslims are colonizing every country they go to. So what do you think of the if you were to put on your, okay, fine, the Jews are bad hat, what do you think of that argument?
No, I mean, I completely agree with you. I think of that as right now, we're supposed to be looking at this as Americans first and survival. And, when I think about, this brings me back to Munich. I know that we ultimately won the war, but and obviously I do agree with you. We have not seen the deal. We don't really know what the deal is. There's speculation, there's rumors, but I fundamentally have a problem with negotiating with terrorists. I think that, we bombed on them a year ago. We're still in this mess. This has been an ongoing mess now. I don't want a repeat of the nuclear deal with Obama. I certainly don't expect Trump to do that. But I really hope that at this point, can we just precision strike and get them all out? I don't understand what, strategically, I want to understand this, because when you literally Churchill, I wish we had Churchill. They literally said, in Munich, they gave Czechoslovakia, they let Hitler annex Czechoslovakia and thought that he would be happy. And then guess what? A year later, he invades Poland and there's World War II.
Okay. So let me jump in here. Okay. So here's why you can't do that, right? It's very complex, but precision strikes in that region, and it requires boots on the ground. It requires American soldiers to die. Americans don't have the appetite. I'm one of the Americans that don't have the appetite for that. I don't want to see it. Okay, we've had our own. We've had these Bush, Obama, who just wanted to bomb terrorists. but it doesn't actually work. All right. And it doesn't really work because you can't negotiate with terrorists in a sense where you appease them, but you can negotiate. I would say that Donald Trump has found a way to negotiate with peace through strength, where you just beat them to a bloody pulp, where they are surrendering. It just might not look like it, right? So here's what I understand is really in this quote deal that everybody's freaking out about, okay? What we did was we hammered their leadership, we hammered their military, we took out all of their really strategic locations where they could really do anything about it, and then we went in and we just started basically grabbing oil behind the scenes, and they started losing hundreds of millions of dollars a day, and then Trump just came in and he went. The negotiation is, do you want another one? Right? That was the negotiation. It was like whack, you want another one? Whack, you want another one? Whack, you want another one? And then so then he comes out and he does this quote negotiation, this final deal, where a lot of people are rightfully cautiously going, you're negotiating with them. And I don't see it that way. I see it as a surrender, because what's going to happen, and these are the details, these are unconfirmed to me even, but this was kind of confirmed by J.D. Vance, so I think that this would be the better way, the better, rumor to look at. The money and the benefits that come to the IRGC in this quote deal, they don't come from America. They come from the Saudis, and there might be some unfrozen funds, but it's all contingent on whether or not they do XYZ for a very long period of time. And what Trump is doing is he's using sort of the Abraham Accord structure of creating allies around Iran. And let's not forget that IRGC was firing at all the allies while this was all going on. They were just throwing blows in every direction. They've pissed all of them off now. And what he's doing is he's saying, okay, we're going to put it so that you can have you can live. Essentially, you can live, but you can't live as the regime you are, okay? Now, that may sound like a negotiation, but I think that a lot of people are thinking that they're just missing the second part, where they go, okay, Trump's letting them live. Going in there with kinetic energy, right? There are hundreds of thousands of loyalists. There are tens and maybe hundreds of thousands of actual soldiers. That's a big war. That is not a targeted strategic action that people think it is. Even going in to get Karg Island was going to probably take American soldiers' lives. And I don't think that Donald Trump necessarily did it for politically advantageous reasons like, oh, I want to win the midterms. I think he basically is one of those presidents who listens to the people, and he's like, people don't want it, right? If after 9/11, we were all like, go, right? We don't have that mentality anymore, which is sad because
But that's precisely what's concerning for me, because I feel like it's unfortunately going to take another 9/11 for that reaction. And I don't want to wait for that. My concern is that the people that are in the IRGC now are pissed and are just going to be buying their time and figuring out a way to strike. The pager situation that Israel did against Hezbollah, that took 10 years in the making. They were walking around with those pagers for 10 years before they blew up. I don't want the IRGC in my pocket for the next 10 years and then blowing up and murdering civilians in malls, and then by proxy using Hezbollah and the Houthis and everyone else to kill everyone else in the region that has Western values. So I feel like you and I are on the exact same page that I want to protect America, and I also don't want innocent Americans being killed. But I also feel like we have Israel that can go in there and take care of a lot for us if we were just going to allow them to do it. And I think that ultimately, if we take care of this problem now, that will protect lives more in the future than otherwise, because the IRGC, like, kids lost their parents, the generals were killed.
Yeah,
they lost all of their leaders. They're pissed.
Okay, so let me
And they hate America.
Let me jump
So that
in.
scares me as an American.
Look, me too. I think that no matter what happens with this deal, we're not going to solve radical extremism and the hatred of America from Islamic Jihad. All right, that's not going to happen. We could go in there and we can kill every single member, soldier, and loyalist for the IRGC. We are not going to kill I would say there's over between 200 and 500 million terrorists in the world, right? Because if you think about it, there's 2 billion Muslims. If 10% of them are Islamists, radical Islamists, you have 200 million. I think the number is closer to 30%, maybe more. And this is backed up by statistics. 60% of Muslims, over 60% of Muslims want some form of Sharia law. Over 60%, 80%, I believe, of Muslims believe in the religious doctrine in the Quran that you don't turn on your brother and you don't turn in your brother, which is why the rape gangs were able to flourish the way they were. It wasn't because that there were a bunch of, non-Muslims that weren't doing anything about it. There was a bunch of people that knew that was going on in the community who weren't raping girls, but they weren't reporting because they can't, like religiously. I talked about Tommy with that on my podcast. So while I do understand what you're saying, and while I do understand the concern from other people where it's like, I don't want to just kick the can down the road, I don't think that's what Trump is doing. What I think he's doing is essentially he's neutering the puppy, right? Like he's not just like going like, I'm just gonna hope he grows out of it, right? He's cutting their nuts off and taking their power away. I want to see the deal though, because I could be wrong. And everybody who's freaking out, you can be right, okay? And on Friday or before, whenever we see the actual MOS, right, or you know what I mean. Whenever we see the actual deal, I'll read it, and I think it's only like a page and a half, and I think it's only the initial 60-day structure. And I think Dana Lash said it very well. We talked about this yesterday. I showed her clip. She goes, it's absolutely perfectly reasonable to be cautious, right? Because we've had Nancy Pelosi come out, we got to pass the deal to see what's in it. We've had the Obama, you can keep your doctor, you can keep your plan. Trump isn't doing that though. Trump is saying, hey, guys, look, give me a week, give me a month. I think that, what has it been? 3.5 months of this conflict, right? How many months and months and months did other conflicts go on? They went on for years. So I just think that the panicking and the jumping to conclusions, I don't think it's productive. I think that while you definitely should be cautious, it would be the same way as if you were cheated on a bunch of times by a bunch of different boyfriends and you get a new boyfriend and you go, or girlfriend, both of us would have girlfriends. But if you get cheated on by a girlfriend, right? You get cheated on by a bunch of girlfriends, and then you get into a new relationship and you're not like going like, she's definitely going to cheat on me, but you're like, I hope she doesn't. That's where I think that people should have their mentality. They should just be like, hey, I don't want to ruin this relationship by comparing it to my past experiences, but I am definitely worried about being cheated on. That's perfectly normal. That's perfectly reasonable. However, imagine walking up to your girlfriend who hasn't done anything wrong and being like, you're cheating on me, right? That's the difference, right? So that's...
I agree. And I still consider, personally, I think that Trump is the best president we've had. So I'm not in any way, turning on him on a dime, but I am cautious and I am hopeful that, he has the balls that he has always shown to not stand up, to not allow and, support and be okay with terrorism. Like he's been, to me, he's been such an example of American pride. He made me so like that was a big reason why I love and own being a Republican now, because the Republicans are the party of American pride. The Democrats want to destroy America. I've never seen any, this is insane. Like they're literally out here trying to ruin this country. And the Republicans are doing everything they can to hold on to it. And I think that, with everything that Trump went through and still persevering and coming back. And I mean, he shows what democracy really is, and he has proven it. We collectively showed how to come back and actually put someone into place that we voted for. I mean, he won the popular vote by over 2 million people. I mean, I think that we're going to be, his story is insane. And just as a person, I have a lot of respect for him. But I also have critical thinking skills and don't have to agree fully with everything that goes on and still respect the guy. But I don't like the fact that he says that, Israel, he obviously he says a lot of things, but he did say that Israel wouldn't exist without him. Now, I will say that I don't think Israel would have a good shot of existing without America. And that
Yeah,
is
I think
also
that,
why I'm so
I think that's
supportive
what he
of
meant.
America.
Look,
Because,
I think that they
Israel needs America.
No, I think that they hype up those. I think that they pump those up, and I think that, like, and I've seen people that I respect and like sort of fall into that trap, and it's irritating because I kind of just go like, you guys haven't seen how they do this, right? Where it's like, if Trump has any type of strife with anyone ever, they play it up like, oh my God, they're at each other's throats. And it's more like, it was probably a conversation where Trump was probably like, hey, baby, imagine if I was Kamala Harris, how would you look right now? Right? Like, that's what I'm saying. And I think that he's hyperbolic, and I think that he gets taken either out of context or partially contextualized. But I wouldn't put it past Trump to say something like, look, I'm trying to get a deal done for my people, right? My people are not, they do not have an appetite for war the way your people do. It's understandable. You guys are constantly being attacked, and you're right there. We're not. We have an ocean between us. We're a lot safer. But that also means we don't have to help you, right? Like, we don't have to. We could go with more of an isolationist perspective. I'm not saying that I don't think that would be good. I'm just saying he could say I have an ocean between us. I have the biggest military defense budget. It's all of the 27 other below us combined doesn't touch our military budget. I could just leave you on your own to your own devices, and I wouldn't say that that's a nice thing to say, but also it is kind of a true statement. Trump, I think, might have just been saying, dude, I've been doing a lot for you. I just need you to be less trigger happy while I try to work out this deal. I think that would be more like how the conversation happened.
Sure, I mean, I can understand that, but what do you do when you're getting rockets thrown at you? I wasn't
No,
in
no.
Israel last week when those rockets were coming.
People are misunderstanding. People are misunderstanding. If I was Bibi, Gaza would have looked like a sheet of glass on October 9th. So you got, me saying that doesn't mean that I am criticizing the way. In fact, I think Israel would have been better off if they did that. I think that I would have rather asked for forgiveness than permission, the same way that America in World War II didn't ask whether or not people would be okay with us dropping 2 bombs on Japan. You know who's not a problem anymore? Japan. But it's also not a comparison to radical Islamic Jihad, it's more of an ideology.
It's a global problem too.
It's a very big global problem. So yeah, it's not a one-to-one comparison. But look, here's the way I'll say it. I think that Israel is very trigger happy, but they have a very good reason. I think that when they get attacked, they automatically want to attack back. And I think what Trump is going is like, hey, if you get attacked and nobody dies, maybe don't throw the bomb back while I deal with this, because I'm so close to getting them right where I want them. That's where I think that Trump is more of a transactional person, whereas Bibi is more of a true believer in what he's saying, right? Trump, I think, is more transactional. I don't think that necessarily is a good or a bad thing. It has some good qualities, has some bad qualities. But Trump doesn't think the way the Jewish people and Israel think, which is understandable because we are two completely different people and cultures, etc. So while I think that people should be, again, to reiterate, cautious and very, I would say, like, cautiously optimistic even, right, would be better. But even if you're not optimistic, even if you're just cautious, I do not want people to fall for I heard it from Al Jazeera, so it's true, and I'm going to freak out about it, and Donald Trump is a traitor. I seen James Lindsay, who's one of the smartest people I think I know, falling for this shit. And I'm like, how are you falling for it? Bro, wait a week and a half. And you can say, I really hope this deal is right. I don't want this deal to be this. But the way that I'm seeing people message this is, Trump betrayed us and Trump did this, and I don't see that yet, all right? So when I see it, I'll call it out. I'm not a Trump loyalist. I have Trump tattooed on me. I love him. But I'm not a loyalist. If he messes up, like when he had bump stock ban, I was like, hey, bad Trump. I can do the bad Trump thing, but I just don't see it right now. Not saying it might not happen, so I would just say everyone just should wait. What is it? 3 more days. Two more days, pretty much. All right. It's 8:51, so I think we're going to be wrapping it up. But tell everybody anything that you got going on. Give yourself a little exit. Hey, follow me here, etc.
Yeah. Follow me on Highly Jewish on Instagram, and please also tune in to the Highly Jewish podcast on YouTube. I have some great guests. Steve Hilton was on it. I am honored to say that he endorsed me. I am running for West Hollywood City Council. That is obviously a small little town in Los Angeles County. The election is November 3rd. Now, interesting point. The city council is a nonpartisan seat. I am not running as a Republican, but I am a registered Republican, and they have never had a registered Republican in city council. So I'm hoping to make that change come November, and to just bring a little bit of common sense and American pride back into the city that I love so much.
That's awesome. Yeah. Sorry for the technical difficulties. That's the unofficial name of this show, is Technical Difficulties. I got a new soundboard. I'm going to have Sean FaceTime me later and teach me how to use it. But I hope the echo wasn't too bad for the people that are watching, because this was an amazing conversation. And if you want me to come on your show, I'd be happy to.
I would love that.
Okay, so we'll set that up.
Please.
Tanya, aka Highly Jewish, thank you so much for joining us. I will see you later, and keep in touch.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
All right, guys. Sorry about the echo. Let's see. We're gonna dump out of that, right? And then I gotta turn my volume down. All right. Perfect. Check. Perfect. Okay. All right. I think that was a great conversation, and I think that we are, whoa, that's an echo. What the hell is going on now? Now I got the echo. You guys aren't hearing an echo, are you? Jeez. I gotta figure this thing. I gotta figure this thing out. This thing's. I have a. I don't know. Like, I can build a house. And I can't figure out a computer for the life of me. Now I can't hear myself in my own headphones, so I don't know. I think you guys can hear me. If not, well, I'm just looking. No echo now. Okay, good. Look, guys, I think that what we're having is this a little audio MDI setup? Oh, no, that's not it. I think what we're having is an unreasonable reaction to a reasonable problem, right? What we're seeing is, and let me pull this back up, and we're going to actually play this.
Gave him billions and billions of dollars, but he gave him $1.7 billion in cash, green cash from banks.
That was weird.
The agreement now final, or are you still?
No, it's not final. It's a memorandum of understanding, and if I don't like it, we'll go back to shooting at them, dropping bombs on their head.
Okay, perfect, right? Look, everyone's freaking out. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, the deal is." Trump just comes out. Trump himself comes out and he says, "Is this deal a final deal?" And Trump says, "No. It's a memorandum of understanding, and if I don't like it, we'll bomb the hell out of them." I don't think that should make people pull their hair out and say, "Oh my God," right? I think what Trump is trying to do is thread a very difficult needle of how do you stop terrorists from doing what they're doing, right? What do they care about more, right? And I think the answer is usually money and power, right? Like, yes, they are religious ideologues. Yes, they are jihadist terrorists, but they also like money and power. Don't get it twisted, all right? They're not that religious. Like, they really do. They want money and power. Trump hits them. He takes away all of their sources of income. He takes out their proxies. He goes after Venezuela. He goes after this. He goes after that. He weakens them to a point where they are just getting decimated. Then he goes, "I'm going to go take Carg Island now." And they go, "No. We'll make a deal." Right? And Trump goes, "Okay. I'm going to type up this memorandum of understanding. Sign it." And they go, okay, we signed it. Does that sound like a negotiation? I mean, sounds kind of like an ultimatum, right? And there's a difference between a negotiation and an ultimatum, right? I mean, technically, there were negotiations between Germany and the Allied forces after Germans were defeated. It was like 7 hours, but it was technically a negotiation, right? Japan, same thing, right? They had to sign papers. Are those technically negotiations? Are you technically negotiating with terrorists? Yeah, sure. More like an ultimatum, though. It's sign or die, right? So I think we have a unreasonable reaction to a reasonable problem, because in the past, we've had Obama, we've had other presidents, Bush, and all of them. They actually did negotiate with terrorists in good faith. Trump is not doing that. I don't think he is. I think Trump is basically going, hey, I want this wrapped up. My people want this wrapped up. And as far as the conflict with Bibi and the strife and how they don't agree and whatever, that's also understandable. Bibi's a warrior. Bibi wants to go to war. We don't. Right? Bibi wants to go to war. He is. But I mean, pushing the divide between Trump and Bibi, it's not helpful, right? I've seen that. I've seen people do that, where they go, yeah, Bibi's a warmonger. No. You want to try to keep the peace between Israel and America while keeping the not so much peace, but potential for a more peaceful Middle East between America and Iran. It's very difficult, guys. And while Trump's doing this, while he's juggling plates, a bunch of people like that either used to support him or don't support him or do support him, they're all going, hey, you betrayed me! And he's like, no, I didn't. Calm down. No, I didn't. All right? He's like, give me a minute. It's the same thing I've seen. It's the same thing I saw with the Panicans that turned into the America First, we're leaving MAGA, right? It's the same thing. I've seen it multiple times, and I'm being cautiously, just warning people not to do that, because maybe you're being played. Maybe that's the point.
If I don't like it, if they don't behave, we'll go right back to dropping bombs right smack in the middle of their head. Okay? Because they misbehaved for 47 years. All right?
That sounds like somebody who isn't negotiating. Okay? Just saying, All right. Great show. Went by fast. Sean Farish is coming up next. Bibi, in my opinion, is not my cup of tea and is a little reckless, but he is doing what he thinks is best. Exactly. Israel is a sovereign country, right? Israel doesn't need our permission to do anything. They don't want to piss us off, and we don't really have to care about pissing them off, but we do. We try to keep our relationship. But if Bibi's people are like, bomb them, and Trump's people are like, don't bomb them, you're going to have conflict. Those are two world leaders. But I think that Trump can work it out. I think there is a middle ground here. I think he'll find it. And worst case scenario, all I'm asking you to do is wait till Friday to read the damn thing before you start saying this or that. Anyway. All right. Sean Farish is up. It's 9:00 a.m. We got P, you're out, Bad Mood, Bumbo, One Sandman, T, Hodges, Winky, Winky, Nod, Nod. I will see you tomorrow for 2A Thursday. Enjoy Ungoverned with Sean. I'm off to work. See you later.
A partially valid, a half-truth, if you will, is being pushed.
I can't wait to find out all sorts of new and exciting things I didn't know about myself.
So you just hate Jews, bro?
Yeah, you're just an anti-Semite. Congratulations.
You're
Go
not
join.
What would you say?
Exactly.
Well, that's different. It's not different. It's the same thing.
We are the only society on Earth who has the obligation to self-destruct, to blame ourselves for every problem that has ever existed, and we just think of ourselves as the worst human beings who are responsible for every bad.
How many Muslims are trying to stop Boko Haram? How many Muslims were confronting ISIS? How many Muslims, the extremists always win. So the peaceful majority, of which I know many, they're irrelevant.